Volatile data analysis. Triage analysis of volatile data can be performed either by reviewing data returned by incident response tools, or it could be for physical memory. Some of the tools or scripts that you can use, there's Microsoft Coffee. WinAudit is a GUI-based tool. And then for memory analysis, there's something called the Volatility Framework, which is actually pretty popular. Volatility can also pull memory off of VMs, so that's helpful. And what you're looking for when you talk about volatile data, active network connections is key to an unknown IP address, right? This could be a possible backdoor or some sort of back channel communication. Or we were talking about botnets. They certainly could be where they're talking to the command and control server. You also want to look for suspicious processes. Sometimes the processes are off by one letter. They'll put a 0 instead of an O, or some other obfuscation, like a 1 instead of an L. And so it looks pretty much like the exact word, but if you don't look closely enough, you'll miss it. And those are the kind of things that hide inside of the memory and continue to work if you miss those. You could also look for running processes with open handles to suspicious files. The open handles are essentially the open files that have connection to or are needed by another program or another process in this case. So sometimes they recreate a DLL, a malicious one, but it has a different name. It may not be the exact name. So you might want to start looking in those areas as well. And of course, there could be strings containing command line calls. Those are usually kind of a signal, a red flag that something malicious could be happening, because for the most part in memory there shouldn't be strings containing command line calls. The direct calls should be generally happen, except for maybe batch files. Generally go directly through the command line. So areas of interest for volatile memory: memory-only resident applications, meaning there's not a copy of them on the hard drive. They only seem to exist in memory, so it makes you wonder, where did they come from? How you can get at those: Volatility has a plug-in, either PSScan, there's PSList, and a few more that will help you identify memory-only resident applications. And the LSOF that we talked about earlier is the list of open files. That's a Linux term, generally. Windows uses the open files. And then Volatility has a plug-in, and it's simply called Files, that helps you find what's open. And then listening servers, right? You can use it if you've ever used a netstat command. That can show you connections and what state they're in. Generally, they could be already established. They could be listening, and some of them, if you catch them just as they're closing, they show a different state. And Volatility has a plug-in, or a couple plugins, sockets and ConScan, that help you find those states. And again, though, with the operating system having netstat built right in, why not use what's already there? Sometimes you can just use a basic script, a batch script, to run that and find out all those connections.
If the host is compromised, how you know they didn't replace netstat with their own version that hides their listening?
That's a very good point. So trusted tools on that one come into play. Exactly. If it is compromised, then perhaps you'll want your own copy of netstat, or you might want to count on Volatility and use that plugin. So that's a very good point. Okay, and the established network connections. So that's what I was just talking about previously. You can look for listening, but you can also find the ones that are established. And if they're connected to suspicious-looking IPs, then that could be a sign for you to look a little closer. And they also have a closed wait, so that's a different state if you catch that close enough to close. And then Volatility, again, let you look for those with those sockets and ConScan. So running processes, WinAudit, PSList in Windows, and the Volatility plugins, PSList and PSScan, allow you to look for running processes